Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
Armor carried on the arm to intercept blows. Hard outer covering or case of certain organisms such as arthropods and turtles. Protect, hide, or conceal from danger or harm. Hold back a thought or feeling about. A protective covering or structure. Armor carried on the arm to intercept blows. Hard outer covering or case of certain organisms such as arthropods and turtles. Hard outer covering or case of certain organisms such as arthropods and turtles. The outer layer of the skin covering the exterior body surface of vertebrates. The dead skin at the base of a fingernail or toenail. Remove the husks from. Hard outer covering or case of certain organisms such as arthropods and turtles. Come out better in a competition, race, or conflict. The exterior covering of a bird's egg. The housing or outer covering of something. A metal sheathing of uniform thickness, such as the shield attached to an artillery piece to protect the gunners. Use explosives on. The enemy has been shelling us all day. Create by using explosives. A very light, narrow racing boat. Ammunition consisting of a cylindrical metal casing containing an explosive charge and a projectile, fired from a large gun. A rigid covering that envelops an object. The satellite is covered with a smooth shell of ice. Fall out of the pod or husk. The corn shell. Hit the pitches of hard and regularly. He shelled the pitcher for 8 runs in the first inning. Look for and collect shells by the seashore. Remove from its shell or outer covering. Shell the legumes. The hard, largely calcareous covering of a mollusk or a brachiopod. The hard, usually fibrous outer layer of some fruits, especially nuts. The material that forms the hard outer covering of many animals. Protect, hide, or conceal from danger or harm. Test or examine for the presence of disease or infection. Screen the blood for the HIV virus. A strainer for separating lumps from powdered material or grating particles. A covering that serves to conceal or shelter something. A screen of trees afforded privacy. The personnel of the film industry. A star of stage and screen. Separate with a riddle, as grain from chaff. Examine in order to test suitability. Screen these samples. A white or silvered surface where pictures can be projected for viewing. Prevent from entering. The display that is electronically created on the surface of the large end of a cathode ray tube. A protective covering that keeps things out or hinders sight. A protective covering consisting of netting, can be mounted in a frame. They put screens in the windows for protection against insects. Examine methodically. Screen the suitcases. Partition consisting of a decorative frame or panel that serves to divide a space. Project onto a screen for viewing. Screen a film. A sheltered port where ships can take on or discharge cargo. A place of refuge and comfort and security. Keep in one's possession, of animals. Maintain a theory, thoughts, or feelings. Harbor a resentment. Secretly shelter, as of fugitives or criminals. Hold back a thought or feeling about. She is harboring a grudge against him. A sheltered port where ships can take on or discharge cargo. A place of refuge and comfort and security. Keep in one's possession, of animals. Maintain a theory, thoughts, or feelings. Secretly shelter, as of fugitives or criminals. Hold back a thought or feeling about. Tough, more or less rigid protective covering of an animal or plant. Protective covering made of metal and used in combat. A military unit consisting of armored fighting vehicles. Equip with armor. Tough, more or less rigid protective covering of an animal or plant. Protective covering made of metal and used in combat. A military unit consisting of armored fighting vehicles. Equip with armor. Large bony or horny plate as on an armadillo or turtle or the underside of a snake. Shield from danger, injury, destruction, or damage. Weatherbeater protects your roof from the rain. Use tariffs to favor domestic industry. Make undecipherable or imperceptible by obscuring or concealing. The dressed skin of an animal, especially a large animal. Body covering of a living animal. Prevent from being seen or discovered. Hide the money. Be or go into hiding. Keep out of sight, as for protection and safety. Cover as if with a shroud. Prevent from being seen or discovered. Hold back. Keep from being perceived by others. She conceals her anger well. Payment extorted by gangsters on threat of violence. Every store in the neighborhood had to pay him protection. A covering that is intended to protect from damage or injury. They had no protection from the fallout. Defense against financial failure, financial independence. Insurance provided protection against loss of wages due to illness. The imposition of duties or quotas on imports in order to protect domestic industry against foreign competition. He made trade protection a plank in the party platform. Kindly endorsement and guidance. The condition of being protected. They were huddled together for protection. The activity of protecting someone or something. The witnesses demanded police protection. A covering that is intended to protect from damage or injury. The tough natural covering of some organisms. A covering that is intended to protect from damage or injury. Middle Ages, a large heavy oblong shield protecting the whole body, originally carried but sometimes set up in permanent position. Middle Ages, a large heavy oblong shield protecting the whole body, originally carried but sometimes set up in permanent position. A shield, especially one displaying a coat of arms. A flat protective covering, on a door or wall etc., to prevent soiling by dirty fingers. A shield, especially one displaying a coat of arms. A flat protective covering, on a door or wall etc., to prevent soiling by dirty fingers. Nautical, a plate on a ship's stern on which the name is inscribed. The outer body wall of an insect. A shield of lead or concrete intended as a barrier to radiation emitted in nuclear decay. Shield consisting of an arrangement of metal mesh or plates designed to protect electronic equipment from ambient electromagnetic interference. The act of shielding from harm. A thin flake of dead epidermis shed from the surface of the skin. Remove the scales from. Scale fish. Music. A series of notes differing in pitch according to a specific scheme, usually within an octave. A measuring instrument for weighing. Shows amount of mass. Reach the highest point of. We scaled the Mont Blanc. A metal sheathing of uniform thickness, such as the shield attached to an artillery piece to protect the gunners. An ordered reference standard. Judging on a scale of 1 to 10. A specialized leaf or bract that protects a bud or catkin. A flattened rigid plate forming part of the body covering of many animals. An indicator having a graduated sequence of marks. Climb up by means of a ladder. Measure by or as if by a scale. This bike scales only 25 pounds. Measure with or as if with scales. Scale the gold. Pattern, make, regulate, set, measure, or estimate according to some rate or standard. Relative magnitude. They entertained on a grand scale. Size or measure according to a scale. This model must be scaled down. Take by attacking with scaling ladders. The troops scaled the walls of the fort. The ratio between the size of something and a representation of it. The scale of the map. A rubber or plastic shield to protect the nipples of nursing women. Baseball. Base consisting of a rubber slab where the batter stands. It must be touched by a base runner in order to score. A metal sheathing of uniform thickness, such as the shield attached to an artillery piece to protect the gunners. A flat sheet of metal or glass on which a photographic image can be recorded. A shallow receptacle for collection in church. The quantity contained in a plate. A dental appliance that artificially replaces missing teeth. A rigid layer of the Earth's crust that is believed to drift slowly. A full-page illustration, usually on slick paper. A main course served on a plate. A vegetable plate. Any flat plate-like body structure or part. A sheet of metal or wood or glass or plastic. Coat with a layer of metal. Plate spoons with silver. Dish on which food is served or from which food is eaten. Structural member consisting of a horizontal beam that provides bearing and anchorage. The positively charged electrode in a vacuum tube. The thin under portion of the forequarter. Invertebrate having a soft unsegmented body usually enclosed in a shell. Invertebrate having a soft unsegmented body usually enclosed in a shell. Meat of edible aquatic invertebrate with a shell, especially a mollusk or crustacean. Invertebrate having jointed limbs and a segmented body with an exoskeleton made of chitin. Overturn accidentally. A sweater or jersey with a high close-fitting collar. Any of various aquatic and land reptiles having a bony shell and flipper-like limbs for swimming. Hunt for turtles, especially as an occupation. Invertebrate having a soft unsegmented body usually enclosed in a shell.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.